I'm sorry. I had to make sure that I had everything connected correct. And you wonder why. I guess that's when well, first thing I want to say. And you wonder why. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show and everything. It's really disturbing that so many young black people, even older black people, feel like the worst thing that they need to watch out for and protect at the front door is quote unquote white supremacy. They think they're so busy moving all their troops, so to speak, into the front door to protect the front door that they're not taking the time to see what's going on behind them. Why am I saying this? Because there was something that happened yesterday at Walmart. I think it was in Chicago. Let me see, double check that. Uh, Students, I guess, had a day to protest against gun control, and instead of peaceful protesting, these students uh, did a lot of damage. They were rioting and they looted a Walmart. They demanded gun control by rioting and looting on Wednesday. Think about that for a second. Crowd of students slammed into the South Side Strip Mall on Wednesday's National Walkout Day demonstration, but didn't do it in a peaceful way. They left destruction along the way. Now, you always ask yourself, why are we treated a certain way? Why do they treat us this way? Why do we get profiled? Why do we get all the things that happen to us? And we don't really need to ask the question why, because the answer's right there. A trail of destruction on National Walkout Day. And we have to really look at things for what they are. There were at least 50 teens at one point, and they destroyed. They were disrespectful, vulgar language. Disrespectful, vulgar language. And at a nearby GameStop, approximately 20 teens began mauling around the store without making any purchases, of course. Now, GameStop, they were able to clear out the customers and lock up the business before anything happened, which was good. But you have these teens going inside of a Walmart and destroying the Walmart. For what reason? But then you ask yourself the question, where do they get this stuff from? Where do they get these behaviors? Going into a Walmart store, going in there and destroying property And then asking yourself, police say between 40 and 60 of these students went in there knocking over product displays, yanking items off the shelves, breaking packages, stealing small items like chips and candy. And we want to sit around and blame white supremacy. We want to sit around and say that we must be careful of white people and white supremacy. And yet, 40 to 60 young students who were raised by maybe a single parent, between 40 and 60 of these students. Now, and you always wonder why we get the bad rap because of things like this. You can have a peaceful protest and not knock over displays. You can have a peaceful protest and walk, march, and demonstrate without any violent acts. But if somebody were to shoot or yank one of these kids up, yoke them up, the first thing that would happen is, poor me, my baby didn't do anything to anybody. It is the white man's fault. Everything that goes on with the Democratic plantation mindset is always the white man's fault. And yet, 40 to 60 of these children who truly, probably 99.99%, come from the Democratic plantation, who feel like white supremacy is the reason why everything is going wrong, crashed into a store, knocking product displays down, yanking items off the shelf, breaking packages, stealing small items. And you wonder why we get treated the way we get treated. Because a lot of you don't understand is that perception is unfortunately reality for a lot of people. That means that there is somebody somewhere in that area trying to get a job, and because of what happened right here is automatically going to get thought of or associated with these young kids. They were angry. They were mad. And the walkout that intended to promote peace led to vandalism and violence. And the worst part about this is once they find these students, they're only going to get charged with misdemeanors and face discipline from the school. Why? This is part of the problem, because we need to be able to handle the situation the way the situation needs to be handled. But the problem is we are so busy worrying about what's in front of us, we don't look at our own to see that we are our own reason for the destruction that you see today. 40 to 60 young individuals who have been taught certain things. 40 to 60. 40 to 60 individuals. And you wonder why. And you ask yourself why. But nobody asked the question of what are we going to do about this? Nobody does that. Nobody asks the question how a lot of these young individuals are confused. They're angry and they're bitter, but yet they're taking it out on the wrong individuals. It creates dysfunction when you are being raised to feel like you are a victim in all of this. When you feel like you're the victim. And that's not the worst of it. Some of y'all don't even understand the problem that we're having when you have 40 to 60 individuals that are taught from the ground up with this democratic plantation mindset, when there is inconsistent discipline in the home. These boys never learn that for every action there will be a responsibility for their actions. They don't know that. A lot of these young boys don't know what boundaries are. They don't know when they have gone too far. They don't know when they violate people's personal space. This is what happens when you have that mindset of a poor me victim. Because not only do you teach these children to disrespect authority, but you teach them to disrespect everything around them. Because this is a problem that 40 or 60 of those kids are going to have a hard time adjusting to the real world because they think they can walk into a Walmart or a store and destroy it and think nothing's going to happen to them. But yet we want to sit around and blame white supremacy for everything that's going wrong in this situation and scenario. But while these young boys and
the spring sales event is happening right
some females out there doing that, while they were out there ripping and running, but not in Chicago, but in South Carolina, a high school custodian, while these kids were out there protesting. And this is why I say you're so busy looking at the front, you're not looking at the back. But while these high school kids were protesting, a high school custodian was accused of stealing money from the book bags of students participating in National Walkout Day. But I want you to guess what race she is. I'm going to tell you her name, and you tell me what you think she is. Aisha. Aisha. What do you think? A custodian at Richmond Northeast High School. This woman, while these kids were out there protesting, this woman decided to go through the students' bags that they left behind in the classroom. Boy, she made a good run of it. She stole a total of $180 cash. stole money from students. Now, she was charged with petty larceny and booked into the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center.
Now, let Kiwi Crush Dog keep brand one new.
But that's what we're talking about here. This is the problem that we are having, is we are so worried about this thing called white supremacy. We're not even looking at our own to what we're doing to destroy us on the back end, the inside out, from the inside. We're destroying ourselves. And nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody cares. We're so busy worried about the white man, we're not paying attention to what's going on here. Sad. Sad. But then you wonder why we get treated the way we do.
Abe Lincoln said that the
Stealing
person
money from students while they're gone. Stealing. Made $180 out of that. Now, what's good is that she got fired. That's good. But you wonder why most black people are not trusted by people because of things like this. Because of actions and behaviors like this that show that the more you are on this plantation and thinking, poor me, the more you're looking at in front of you, thinking that it's the white man holding you down, the more you're letting things behind you slide. There is no accountability for everything that has happened on the back end. But yet we are worried about white supremacy. We are worried about the quote unquote white man holding us down when we're sitting around doing things like this and expect people not to perceive us as animals. Nobody wants to deal with an animal, animalistic behavior. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to deal with someone that disrespects male authority and authority figures. Nobody wants to deal with someone who has inconsistent discipline. No one wants to deal with someone who doesn't know what boundaries are or coping skills. And all I just got to say is you wonder why. You wonder why. Like, subscribe, share. Time to leave the Democratic plantation behind and think beyond black.